They warned me not to marry him, but no one told me why. I found out the night his family proved they could rewrite reality. I met my husband in college. He was quiet, polite, almost boring. His family money came up eventually, but he brushed it off like it was irrelevant. Old investments. Boring corporations. Nothing sinister. When we moved back to his hometown after the wedding, I noticed how people reacted to his last name. Cashiers comped our groceries. Our landlord refused rent. Strangers smiled too quickly and looked away. I told myself it was just small-town respect for a wealthy family. The first real crack came when I applied for a job and got hired without an interview. My resume hadn't even been updated. When I asked HR about it, they panicked and said there must have been a mistake. That night, my husband told me to quit asking questions. He said it gently, but his hands were shaking. Over the next year, I learned the family didn't ask for favors. They expected them. Zoning laws changed overnight. Complaints vanished. People who crossed them moved away suddenly. When I joked about it at dinner, his mother squeezed my wrist under the table hard enough to bruise and smiled like nothing happened. A week later, I tried to visit my sister out of state. At the airport, my ID flagged as invalid. That's when I realized I wasn't just married to him. I was inside something I didn't understand. After the airport incident, I started paying attention in a way I never had before. My phone calls dropped when I mentioned the family. Emails bounced for no reason. When I searched my own name online, entire years were missing. Not private. Gone. I confronted my husband, and he finally admitted the truth in pieces. His family didn't just have money. They funded campaigns, owned local media, sat on boards that decided who got loans and who didn't. They called it stability. Anyone who threatened that stability became a problem to be managed. I asked him if they were managing me. He didn't answer. Instead, he asked me to stop writing things down, stop telling my sister details, stop acting afraid. The next day, my sister texted me asking why I'd emailed her saying I was fine and didn't want to talk anymore. I hadn't sent that message. That night, his father invited me for a drive. He told me they liked me, that I'd adjusted well, but that panic was contagious. He said people who panic ruin things for themselves. When I told him I wanted to leave town for a while, he laughed softly and said, "You already tried." A few hours later, I got an alert from my bank. My account had been frozen due to suspicious activity. The activity was me buying a bus ticket. I realized then that escape didn't look like running. It looked like disappearing quietly. I stopped resisting. I apologized. I smiled at dinners. I let them believe I was learning. Meanwhile, I memorized patterns. Who talked to whom? Which security cameras actually worked? Which favors hadn't been returned yet? I contacted a legal aid clinic using a public computer 2 towns over and spoke in hypotheticals. They confirmed what I already knew. On paper, nothing illegal was happening. Influence leaves no fingerprints. My chance came when my husband was sent abroad for business. His mother assumed I'd stay put. I didn't. I left behind my phone, my car, my name. I used cash and favors of my own. Weeks later, my husband filed for divorce. No contest. No demands. Just silence. I thought that meant they'd let me go. Then I received a letter forwarded from an old address. No return name. Inside was a single sentence typed neatly, "We're glad you chose peace." I live quietly now, under a different last name, in a city where no one knows theirs, but sometimes I still hesitate before speaking, because once you learn how powerful families work, you understand something terrifying. They don't chase you. They just decide whether you still exist.